I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could remain standing and remember our men and women in the armed forces, remember those affected and even passed away from the virus. A lot of people to think about here. And a couple of local folks, Tommy Avery and Willie Parker. Thank you. Okay. So first on the agenda is to approve minutes that were written from our last meeting on September the 8th, 2020.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Livesey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is authorizing the mayor to sign a proposal by Donegal Construction Corporation for milling of streets per the recommendation of the village engineer. And later on I'll talk about paving of streets, but this is to start the process of milling, taking the old road away. We've had them here before. They do great work, and once this is authorized, milling will start next week. I have a motion.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
I'll second it. I just got a quick question. Do we know how long you think they'll be in town for?
5 or 6 days.
The only thing I'm worried about is just this cold weather we've been having, but.
Which streets, from the list that we had before?
Yeah. Of course, Main Street, Villa, I'm doing this by memory, Laurel. I have the,
I'll think we'll
Laurel Lane, Wyant Terrace, Eagle Valley Road. Mearns and Cooks will be done next year. Tobin's Lane, Webb Lane, Laurel Lane, Wyant Terrace, streets like that. Okay, so I have a motion.
And they feel comfortable that they'll be able to mill and blacktop.
Yeah. Well, they don't do the blacktopping, but they do the mill.
That's, what you know, really.
Motion on the floor by trustee Howard, is there a second?
I
Mr.
second.
Saab will second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is to approve the low bid of Aventus Construction Company, $1,598,980 for damage at the wastewater treatment plant for the fire. Again, the insurance company is paying this, not the village. I have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, I have a resignation from a part-time police officer, Robert Legros, effective September the 15th. It is with heavy heart that I hereby resign as a police officer with the Village of Highland Falls. I truly appreciate everything you and the police department have done for me. I will always cherish my time spent serving the citizens of Highland Falls. I will never forget the relationships I gained as part of the police force with my colleagues as well as with the community. As always, I wish you and the department all the best. Thank you for bestowing me with the great honor of serving our great community. Robert LeGros. May I have a motion to accept?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Livesey. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is a budget transfer recommended by the treasurer of $10,000 from the general fund to workman's compensation fund.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Chief Smith from the fire department is asking us to approve 2 junior firemen. I'll do them one at a time. The first one is Jacob Lozanto, per the Rosado, per the recommendation of Eric Smith. And the reason I'm doing them separate, his physical is still pending. So the motion would be pending his physical.
Motion.
Second.
Pending the physical.
Motion by trustee Ramos, second by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next junior fireman is Danielle Rush, whose physical, everything is done for her, per the recommendation of the fire chief.
So moved.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, second by trustee Ramos. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have an event form from the Town of Highlands Recreation Department. Halloween parade, trunk or treat, and dance. So the information, I'll go over the information that I have already told you all, and it's this. I spoke to the county doctor today, which I do very frequently, probably once a week. And her concerns are not being able to social distance, especially in the gathering at Memorial Park, and then the parade up Walnut, and then even up at Roe Park. I guess what will happen is there'd be cars around Roe Park, of which we usually do at Lot 2, that the trunk or treat, something new over the last few years that's taken place. It's quite popular. And so, she is recommending that the only part that take place is the trunk or treat. And even with that, her recommendation is not that they walk from car to car, but that they're in a car and they pull up beside a trunk or treat car with the trunk open, and that person hands into the car candy. I'm not so sure about all of that. I do concur with the closeness in the parade and the gathering and the dance. She said no to that. So, listen, while I don't have little kids, I have grandchildren. I understand, you know, a lot of schools aren't letting kids back into school, so they're doing everything by home, thus not being with their friends and playing with their friends and seeing their friends and doing all that normal socialization that people need. But this is a great idea that Aaron Falk came up with. It's good fun. We need fun. That's what we need now. We need something positive. We need things that are positive. You know, this is 8 months. but again, these are different times. So I'm relaying what the county doctor told me today. I think that something can still happen, I hope. I think that Brian mentioned that he would, Merv, you mentioned that you would. We need someone to talk to Aaron and see if we can figure something out that works.
I'll talk.
Huh?
I'll talk.
Okay.
We want something. So we have time to approve another event form, a modified event form. So I would ask that we table this event form until something can be worked out,
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
all right? And we can take care of it at the next meeting.
Okay.
I'm all for it, I'm all for something. These kids have it tough.
You know, Mr. Mayor, I agree, and I think that everybody's got it tough right now. I think from the kids to the adults to the...
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Right, yeah,
I
everyone.
mean, it's at that point now where it's like, you know, we're after Labor Day, and, you know, the biggest thing here in this community is the 4th of July parade, and, you know, that's, we're just, everybody's getting tired of this.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I also have some other comments that the doctor made, but I'll make them under my virus report. So, all right, let me know.
Yeah, I will, I'll...
And then I'll let the board know.
Yep.
Okay, next on the, I want everyone to, we introducing tonight, Regina? Just letting them know that I'm going to introduce the water amendment, local law. I'd like to introduce at the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
Yeah,
And so then you'd set the public hearing for some time in
Yeah.
October? Okay.
and then we'll have that public hearing at the Senior Citizen Center.
Okay,
Okay?
so everyone just look at that and please give me feedback
Yeah,
before it's introduced.
that would be the right thing, the way to do this, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Not on the agenda because it came in just a little bit ago. I'd like to have a motion to appoint Ryan Kresbeck, water plant operator. He has taken all his courses, and this is a copy of his certificate that he passed. And so he's all set. We do need 2 water operators up there. He's the second one, along with Jack Sibley. The motion, if you agree, should be to appoint him as the water plant operator, being he's passed all the requirements. And it would come into effect, the date we'll leave open. It'll be the date that the county approves all of this paperwork, which they will. But we need to hear back from the county that all the paperwork's in place. That's what we're going to hear, and then he can become the water plant operator under those circumstances, if the motion could read that.
So moved.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, second by trustee Livesey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Of course, there'll be let me, if we can do an amendment onto that, I'm sorry, that there'll be a 52-week probation. Does the folks that made the motion agree?
I agree.
And the salary will be per the contract.
Per the contract, yeah.
He goes back on probation?
Yeah, it's a new position.
New position. Do you agree?
Do I agree with it?
Yeah, I'm amending your motion.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We need a vote?
You already agreed?
I know we voted this, do we need a vote on the amendment?
Yes.
Okay, may I have a vote on the amendment, which is to add to the motion made by trustee DeSalvo, trustee Livesey, appointing Ryan Kresbeck, water plant operator, that there's a 52-week probation. I need a motion.
Yeah,
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, second by trustee Livesey, all in favor?
Aye.
Why would we re-motion that? It's an amendment, I'm
Because
amending my motion. It would be my motion.
because you're amending a motion that's already been made and seconded.
Yeah, but I have to amend, would have to okay that. That's me making the motion, correct?
No.
Oh.
No.
That's why I asked, did you agree? Okay. Let the vote reflect 5-0. I have bills and claims for fiscal year 2021, $44,025.70.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
A second.
Second by trustee Livesey, may I have roll call?
Trustee Howard?
Aye.
Trustee Livesey?
Aye.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Yes.
Trustee Ramus?
Aye.
Mayor Denofrio?
Aye, motion carries, thank you so much. Okay, that's the agenda. I do have a few things, and then I'll go around the table. The virus numbers, as I give at each meeting. Orange County, these are Orange County numbers, 11,778 cases. That's up 31 from Thursday. A bulk of that increase is Palm Tree, Newburgh, Middletown, Monroe, but I will also tell you, probably almost everyone, which I can't verify, but us also, we now have 251 cases here in the town of Highlands. Again, that does not include West Point. 498 deaths, there's been no increase for a few days. 28 are in the hospital. An interesting number, a sad number, it's all sad numbers, no matter which one you want to pick out. Out of all the cases in the county, senior citizens make up 16.2. 16.2%. But the deaths in that category are 78.5. Now it doesn't matter to me where you put any percent in deaths. 1% at one age group, you know, for real is too many.
Yeah.
But 78.5% of seniors who get it have all they can do to hold on. Now, those are the numbers, and they're going up in Orange County. As I said, they're going up here. Businesses are still struggling. Football games at West Point are happening with no fans. Main Street is empty. These were days that businesses counted on. We need to continue to support our businesses. There's certain things, and it's a lot of things that make up a community. The schools make up a community. The churches make up a community. Volunteers make up a community. But our stores, our businesses on Main Street also make up the community. So we need to support them the best that we can. In the discussion today with the doctor, the county doctor, Dr. Gilman, came up the Senior Citizen Center. She was surprised that our Senior Citizen Center was open. Those senior citizens in Orange County that care to do any activities are doing them virtual. Exercise, different ways, maybe lectures. I don't know how people are doing it. We haven't done that here. So I'm going to have to notify the seniors that, per the county doctor, that the Senior Citizen Center should not be open. Again, they're at the greatest risk. You know, again, that, just like the children, they need something to do too. And this is just a mess, so I will notify them. The Bog Meadow Dam is now down to 52%, so it's dropping and dropping and dropping. We know there hasn't been much rain. So, as of tonight, when the newspaper comes out in a day or two, I don't think this will hurt too many folks because it's the time of year, but there will be no more outside washing of your cars. And then just before someone brings up the car wash, they're on well water. They're not on village water. But washing cars, I don't know, it's that sidewalks, driveways, lawn sprinkling. I'm not sure anyone's really doing that much anymore now. They're not filling their pools. But all that kind of stuff, it will stop until bog rises again. If it continues to go down, there'll be additional restrictions. It's important that we protect the water supply. This Thursday, Friday, the email that I have here says that the basketball court improvements will be started and finished. I'm waiting for that. I have a letter here that I'd like to read. It's addressed to the mayor and the village board. It's dated September the 15th. I would like you to know how professional the individuals who fixed the drainage issue at my home were, from Frank Donato. I've gotten nothing but compliments about this company. Nothing, and they do great work. I hope they keep being the low bidder and keep doing work for us. Mike Donato, Andrew Depew, Charlie the inspector, as well as the village engineer Todd Atkinson. They kept me informed as to the status of the work almost daily and answered all questions and concerns to keep me in the loop. The job was neat, and at the end result was even better. I am happy to say that I have had a dry basement since they did the work, which has been such a relief to me. The village hired a dependable, dedicated company, and for that I would like to say thanks to the village. I am aware that we didn't see eye to eye on this issue for a very long time, but at the end of the day, I am able to put all that aside and say thank you. Jose Sierra Jr. The next thing is the village clerk and I and department heads, and when I need to pull you guys in, I will. But we need to, per law by Governor Cuomo, we need to come up with a completion date of April 1, 2021. Pandemic operation plan legislation into law. The new law requires public employers to develop a plan for operations in the event of a declared public health emergency involving diseases. A list of descriptions and positions considered essential. Protocol for non-essential employees to follow to work remotely. A description of how staged work shifts would be implemented. The process of procurement and distribution of personnel protective equipment, PPE, for employees. The process outlining what to do when an employee is exposed to communicable disease. The policy on leave in the event employees require testing, treatment, quarantine. Protocols to documents specified hours and work locations, including off-site visits for essential employees and contractors, and on and on and on. So, I have 150 days from September the 7th. So Gina and I and other folks and trustees will have to get involved in this. Police reform. We've heard a lot about this on the news. Again from the governor. New York State police reform. So we have until April of 2021 to come up with a document which will involve the use of force by police officers, crowd management, community policing, awareness training, de-escalation training and practices, community-based outreach, and transparent citizen complaint procedures. And part of this is a citizens committee for which in a very short period of time I will name. The chief executive of such local government shall convene the head of the local police agency, stakeholders in the community to develop such a plan. And that's what I will do. So, and there's quite a bit here to look at and to adhere to. So, Elise, I'm sure you'll be part of this, even with the pandemic, when there's going to be questions that we're going to have to come to you for.
Okay.
So, some of us have our work cut out. And that's okay. I'd like to announce tonight that the village has received another $29,000 in grant money to go towards the West Point Highway ADA sidewalks. This should cover the cost of the project, and I'm very happy to report that. And I'm happy, I want to say thank you to Orange County for an additional grant on this project. I have an email here from Orange and Rockland, a one-time bill credit for 72 hours or longer that you were out of Orange and Rockland services. Now, I don't know if anyone in the village was out 72 hours, maybe. I know people in Fort Montgomery were. But they're going to give a credit. They're big spenders. Residential customers will receive $2.60 to $5.85 credit against their $19.50 monthly customer charge, depending on the outage lane. So
It gets you a
you should pick a bank and go open a bank account. And Mary Jane, I'd like to give this to you. You might want to use it or whatever, okay? Thank you. I have something about James Skoufis, but I'm going to wait until after you finish. You speak, okay? And I'll talk about that. All right. As everyone knows, we have 2 new police vehicles that were budgeted for, and so we're going to, per the village mechanic and the highway superintendent, the white unmarked car that we all know, 937, that'll be kept. And then we'll keep 936, which I will recommend that goes to the sewer plant. Right now, when they leave the sewer plant and have to go to the substations, they're using their own car. So I'm suggesting that we give them one of these old police cars and let them run it into the ground until it's all, done. And then that leaves 932, which is the one that the village mechanic says we should surplus. Some of you may know, but there was a major, and I say major because in less than a 10-day period, over 1 million gallons was being lost of water. We didn't know where it was. I'm sure it was causing dirty water. I'm also sure that now, being it's fixed, that cause of folks having dirty water should not be around. The leak was on the school line to O'Neill. It took days to find it. I want everyone to know that the village, myself, and the highway department and the water department worked very closely with the school and their personnel, and Dr. Sheboy and I and Ann Lawless and I had many, many phone calls. When they finally found the leak by bringing in a company that does that, and started to dig where the leak was. They also realized right next to it was the sewer line that also belongs to the school was broke. And so that was repaired also. They were side by side. But it was a great joint effort. The water had to be tested for a couple of days. As of this morning, talking to the water department, village water department, everything passed. And so the water is now back on. The only difference with the water being back on, the school, for some reason, took the village water meter off the wall at O'Neill and laid it on the floor and installed another one that was not compatible to our reader. But that's okay, because like the other 10+ master meters we have in the village and in the town, we read master meters. We don't read the meter on the school building. And so the school will receive their water bill from the master meter. And as of today, that is working correctly, and that's where the reading will come from. The repairs at the Senior Citizens Center, we awarded a bid at the last meeting to Frank Fay's company. And so he'll be doing a very small hand wash sink in the kitchen, some duct work, exhaust fan work, something with the windows, I think. I have windows now. Oh, I'm sorry, the window in the kitchen. Jeez, I talk about it all the time. The wall there now, there'll be a window put in to hand out food. And so that should be completed soon. Now, our next venture at through a grant at the senior center, once it's awarded, will be a drop ceiling, ductwork repair, new LED lighting, windows, work outside to make a nice patio. Those kinds of things will take place possibly this year with inside work, and we'll be talking more about that. The Orange and Rockland poles that the Thayer Flats hotel owner wants Orange and Rockland to move. They're waiting on an approval letter from us. There'll be no approval letter from us, even though we do approve, but they need a letter until the owner puts into escrow a dollar amount that he's been, how much is it, 5?
That's the total it should be brought up to.
He needs to bring it up to 5,000, the escrow for engineering and legal work on our end. And nothing will be done with these Orange and Rockland poles until that's been received. And also, I'll bring up the developers agreement. As I told you all, if you have any questions with the developers agreement, suggestions, or something you want taken out, either way, in or out, please call Lise so that we can wrap that up. But again, even once it's done, there'll be an appropriate time when we ask him to sign it, depending on other situations that are not taken care of by him.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't signed the parking lease yet.
That's
so.
correct. That's correct. Tomorrow morning at 9, anyone wants to join me, there'll be a meeting here with Todd, John Jones, and some other folks to work out all the logistics with milling and paving. I'll then give it to the News of the Highlands. We'll also send out notices and put it on Channel 23, and like I said, hopefully it'll be in the newspaper. It's quite an endeavor, but we did it last year, and the end result is always much better than the construction, and that'll be the same this time. What I do want to say is that, so folks know, Mountain Avenue, the technical name of Mountain Avenue is New York State Route 218, which belongs to the state, not the village. And so they put a main, gas main down the middle of the street on one side, the downside, from the top all the way to West Street, and they have a temporary patch. And they wanted to take up that temporary patch and put a nice surface down where the patch was. To make this sound easy, I had a meeting with them, and I said, no. It needs to be curb to middle, at least curb to middle. Back and forth, I don't need to get into the back and forth, but they finally agreed. And so the Central Hudson will pay a blacktopper to come in and do from curb to center as you're going on the downside. And also Central Hudson, through additional negotiations, will pave around 70 feet north of the last house. I describe that last house as Vince Julian's, but we know just past Vince Julian's, the road's been in terrible decay and never been fixed by DOT, and so they're going to put they're going to take that up, they're going to mill that and put a nice piece of blacktop in there so that when you come into town, you don't have to go into the other lane.
Mr. Mayor, did they say when they're going to do that?
It will be done October. It's almost October.
I noticed they put counters up too. I think the state did, so I think they're looking to get a count on how many cars are actually utilizing that road.
And one of the things I want to talk about, James Scoop, is, I'll do it in a minute after Brian gets done, but I want to come back to Mountain Avenue when I can get my turn back and continue to talk about Mountain Avenue. At the last meeting, it was asked about a second can from the town, trash can, the green ones. If anyone wants to purchase a second can, they're $65. I think maybe some folks need more than one, but it's up to them to buy. I want to talk about Roe Park for a second here, and the grant, the famous grant. So, you know, I see a lot of nonsense. It's so ugly I won't even read it on Facebook. So, while I'd like to say I want to set the record straight, that's always very hard and some ways impossible as far as Facebook goes. So I'll make this short. And if anyone wants to come in and see the information that I have, it's like this about the Roe Park improvements. You're welcome to come in. I'm here all day. I'll make time when you come. You don't need an appointment, and you can come in and look at what I have, which is fact. I appreciate, first of all, I totally appreciate that James Scoof has awarded us $140,000 to do renovations to Roe Park. It needed renovations. It always will. It's the nature of the beast. It's like our house. We always have to do something. And so there was a committee named. And I know, Merv, you were on the committee, and Trustee Murphy was on the committee. And I appreciate everyone that was on the committee. And you worked hard to come up with a plan, meaning what to do with 140. I would assume that was the mission of the committee. And so there's a document here from Aaron Falk, Roe Park estimates. That's how he called it, and that's what they are. So folks want to know where'd the 140 go? So what Aaron did, went out and got prices for the renovations. I'm not sure who he got them from, but he probably went to contractors that do this kind of work. And just like I do when a pump goes at the water plant, I go to the engineer and I say, Todd, we got to replace that pump. What do you think it'll run? Todd will say $50,000, whatever he'll say. But it's 60, 70, 80,000 by the time, you know, he gave me his best estimate. And that's what I think Aaron Falk got, his best estimates. So he has the Roe Park pool upgrades. Counting pool furniture, which we didn't do, but counting $10,000 for pool furniture. Let's just take the pool. He has $22,000. Well, the low bid was $45,000. A little higher. Basketball court. New surface, $33,495. $33,495. This one I was shocked about, but it was the low bidder. He had $33,495. It came in $57,110. Meanwhile, we're eating the money up. All right? The third thing is playground upgrades, meaning the repair of the matting. $6,000 Aaron had estimated. That came in $24,845. So that's just those three items, that's $127,067.18. That leaves $12,933. So the board, I would like the board to decide, next meeting, winter's coming, so we can do it in the spring, what to do with the $12,933. Now, we could also apply that to the LA group who we had to go to for specs. We spent $15,950 on construction, inspection, and bidding process. $16,000. So even if we use this money to pay off that, we're still dipping into our own pocket. And I'm not making that an issue, I'm just stating fact here. The other items that we weren't able to do were geese deterrent. Aaron had $750. Now, I will tell you that Tim Green is working on geese deterrent. We've already found a way to put a certain type of oil on the eggs and they don't hatch. So there's a little bit of the battle.
It's called addling.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Then bathrooms, pool bathroom. Now I don't know if everyone knows, I know old timers will know the pool bathroom is that cinder block building that's to the south of the pool. That was there when I was a kid, and when I was a kid, everyone, including me, were scared to go in there because it's like a dungeon. And I'll never forget the day we went over there, Gina, and we tried to open the doors. We couldn't hardly open the doors. And then it's too bad we didn't have a broom because you couldn't get in because of the cobwebs. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. If you stand outside the concrete, the cinder block, you'll see cracks all the way through. Meaning all of that means that has to come down. There's no repairing that dungeon.
I agree.
And we all decided, and we checked this out legally, that we could use the bathrooms. You gotta have bathrooms for the pool, but having the bathrooms over by the pavilion worked. Maybe someday if we get money enough, we can put bathrooms by the pool. But again, roll cart pool upgrades, basketball upgrades, geese deterrent, Little League, playground, matting, and bathroom. Eric had $140,000. And to his credit, that's what he was told. He didn't do this on his own. All I'm saying is that when we went out to bid with specs, 3 of those items came in at $127. And the 3 that we did were the most important. I don't know if there's any more questions. I don't know if there's any more I can say.
Well, one thing I'd like to say is the playground, you know, I don't know if you've gone up there and looked at it. They did a spectacular job up there. They really did. They did a great job up there on that. They did a better job than I thought they were going to do.
Merv, I agree with that. I was worried, how were they going to patch this in? I was worried.
So professional how they did that. It's
Yeah.
a great job.
That's good to hear.
And I think that's a lot more than was anticipated to be fixed.
There could have been more spots than maybe Aaron had.
There's much.
And there's even more now.
It's a great job. that
Yeah.
they did.
So, thank you. Again, thank you to Aaron, thank you to the committee. Before I turn this over to Mr. Howard, I would like a motion that we surplus police car 932.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Brian? No, it's okay. I'm gonna do that another time.
Do you need a motion, do you need a motion for the 12,000 remaining?
I need a motion if you know where you wanna put it,
I would use it to offset expenses.
which is the LA group. Is that, you wanna make that motion?
I would make it.
I think they, well,
Can
I'm sorry?
we say we use that?
no, I don't.
Yeah, yeah, you could use it also.
We laid out $16,000.
Well, wait a minute. As I said, I forget my exact words, but as I said, I probably didn't say it this way, so let me say it this way. We're checking it out right now to make sure that it can go towards specs and the LA group. So let's wait till the next meeting. We'll know the answer by then, and we'll put it on the agenda.
I mean, typically you can unless.
Yeah, I think we,
Yeah, unless it's
Unless it says it's
specifically
excluded, yeah.
excluded.
yeah, we just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Good, that's good. Okay, sir.
All right, a couple of weeks ago, they had a celebration of Mrs. Matthews up here, and in order to celebrate her life, we were asking more people to volunteer. So after the ceremony, I was coming back here to pick up some stuff, and James Scoofus dropped by. And I asked a couple of questions about businesses and things like that. He gave us some answers to some questions that Joe and myself and other trustees have been asked. He's been selected by the HFIB. It's an organization that helps small businesses, so he's very committed to the idea of small businesses surviving in the state of New York. He also spoke about DOT, since that came up periodically throughout the conversation. He gave us a contact person. I asked if there's any extra money left over from a job, can they look at other places to fix up? And he explained that any extra monies in New York State Department would be used to help decrease the debt of the state. He's also involved in a stimulus bill, towns and villages. We're trying to prevent cuts from hospitals, schools, and municipalities. That was a big question about schools, how much money is going to be cut, where they're going to get the money to help out. Asked about raising taxes. Right now they're thinking about people who make $5 million a year will pay higher taxes.
Oh, shoot.
He also stressed the fact that some of the monies will be held up, but they won't be cut. So that what he explained is, let's say it's a grant, they may take that money and put it aside, but it won't be cut. You can still go after the grant, possibly at another time. What's the effect going to be on the virus for municipalities? No one really knows yet. We are going to feel the effects of a debt from our state to municipalities, and both sides of the aisle are working on that. That's it.
Brian, the only thing I want to say is that we had a very nice meeting. It lasted an hour. It was right around the corner. Here was Brian, I, and James Scoofus, and a lot of subjects, as Brian just mentioned, came up. He is looking into the Greenway grant that we received to do an update to our comprehensive plan, and he did get back to me on that. He did get back to me about that last week, and that grant, it has been suspended. The good news is that I confirmed that the governor's office only put it on pause. They didn't cancel it. So we may get that $10,000 back. We may. And we'll put it towards the comprehensive plan. And I do appreciate any effort, as he gave me here in number 2, working. He asked me for a lot of information about Mountain Avenue, Route 218, and measurements, etc., for the part we want paved to take it to the other side, and he's working with DOT to see if that could happen. While Central Hudson is going to pave, there have been times when the state has allowed Central Hudson's contractor to pave more of a state road. So it has been done. So hopefully, we did the best we could. Thanks, thanks. It was a good meeting. Jim?
So, give a report on the building department. So summary of things that they did from August 1st through the 31st. They're quite busy down there, even with Bruce leaving. 13 permit applications were received and 11 permits were issued. There was no operating permits issued though. There was one certificate of compliance issued, 27 building permit inspections, 2 fire safety inspections. There was 28 advisory notice is sent out, and 11 of those were taken care of. So that's a good thing. So when they get a letter, people say, oh my goodness, and they take care of that so we don't have to. But there's still some out there that we might have to look at. We'll see. 12 municipal searches were completed. 1 zoning variance application was submitted. 2 planning board applications were submitted. There was 1 FOIL request and 68 physical inspections. That's all in the village. So they are busy down there, and with the limited staff that they have right now, I think they're doing a great job.
Can I give you a list this week in your box of addresses I gave them to see where they are, property maintenance?
Sure.
Okay.
So we all know fall begins tomorrow, and as we are well aware, I'm sure the extra blankets came out over the past couple of days. With that being said, it's so important that whether you own the house or you're renting, that you have a carbon monoxide detector. This is an invisible killer. You're not going to know it, and it's going to happen. So the small price for one of those is well worth it. If you do smell gas, there is a phone number that Orange and Rockland has. They don't call from in your house or use your cell phone. Go outside, especially if you're smelling in the house. And it's 1-800-533-5325. So that's 1-800-533-LEAK. Give them a call, they'll send somebody right down. Natural gas is nothing to be played with, that's for sure. Like I said, it's an invisible killer, and please, if you need help paying for one of those, they do have programs out there, or I'm sure I can find somebody that could help you pay for carbon monoxide if you don't have one in your house. I know the fire department also has some programs out there for smoke detectors. I don't know if it's the dual one, but I will inquire about that. Also, Orange and Rockland has a new program out there. It's about going solar. They made it a lot simpler. It's onr.solar.com. It talks about the new solar panels that they have out there, battery storage, etc., etc. They will work with you. Quotes take less time. You get multiple quotes from different installers, and you can. It helps in the process of negotiating a price. There's a lot of savings that could be involved if your house is oriented in the right direction, and it's a great thing as far as going solar and saving the planet. Also, Orange and Rockland knows that with COVID, everybody's having a hard time paying their bills. They do have a program out there, so if you need assistance, give them a call at 1-877-434-4100, and they'll be happy to sit down with you and see what they can do. New York State had implemented the Bring Your Own Bag program. It was suspended because of the COVID-19, because it was supposed to begin on March 1st. It is going to take total effect and enforcement will begin on October 19th. That's not that far away. So bring your own bags. There was a lot of entities out there that actually offered these bags, or you can pick one up at the local department store, grocery store, drugstore. They have them right at the end caps. They cost $1. They're reusable. If you get the ones that are cloth, you can throw them into your washing machine, and it helps prevent any issues with any diseases on the inside that you may think you're picking up. Again, that ban and enforcement is going to begin on October 19th. Speaking about the water, Mr. Mayor, you were talking about Bog Meadow. So the Environmental Protection Agency has a few things out there. I know I've talked about it in the past about the harmful algae blooms, and they have set aside $6,487,000, and this is funding for 7 different institutes, and they're going to research how to prevent these harmful algae blooms using current and new technologies. It's a great thing. If you want to go on their website to see any other information on harmful algae blooms, it's at EPA.org. Also, the EPA wanted me to let you all know that asthma is a problem, especially now with the kids going back to school or the kids staying inside. And it seems like in these winter months that asthma really attacks the younger kids. So there are 3 webinars that are available for anybody that wants to use them. Again, go to the EPA's website. The one webinar, it's Let's Clear the Air, and they talk about ventilation practices in schools. Another one is for proactive plans to effectively clean and promote the indoor air quality in schools and what schools need to know. So if you go there and you get this information, then you can ask the school board if they are actually implementing these for your kids, especially if they have asthma. They're great webinars. I've looked at them in the past. They don't take that long, and they have a ton of information. I have something from Mary Jane. Maybe she'd like to get it into the newspaper. Play smart, play safe, and play local. It just gives some information on what all of us, not only the kids that are playing outside, but there's just so many people using the parks now. How to protect yourself and others when you're out there enjoying the outdoors. One last quick thing, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be attending another webinar, and it's concerning solar parking lot covers. Now, I don't think that would actually fit in our community, but what they do have are, if you go down to the bottom of Route 6, New York State put in that commuter parking lot, and they have some light poles that have solar panels on the top. And I'm going to inquire about the cost for those, see if there's any programs out there, and I think our municipal lots would benefit from something like that, if that's okay with you.
It's great.
That's all I have for this evening.
Jim?
Murray? The other thing I got is, appreciate you bringing up the water, because I've been up to Bog Meadow, and that is very low. Fort Montgomery, Brooks's Lake is very low. I mean, it's spooky low, and like just looking at the water right now, I'm glad you did put a restriction out. I'm glad to see that. It's needed.
Yeah, we gotta start their steps to follow. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it rains soon.
The other thing I just want to bring up real quick, and I'm speaking as a resident and speaking as a village trustee, I appreciate anybody that's going up and down on Mountain Avenue, your patience right now. There's no other way to say it. I'm right in the middle of this, and it's something that's needed to be done. I know there's Ray D'Onofrio, I know you know, there's a lot of comments that are on Facebook and media about what should be done and what shouldn't be done. This has to be done, and for myself, I'm speaking for myself, it's not fun right now. It's not fun looking at the graffiti, it's not fun bouncing over the holes, it's not fun listening to the machines, it's not fun to stopping and waiting and go, and it's not fun with that. This has been going on for a long time.
Yeah,
Um,
and you're right in the middle of it, like literally.
Sooner or later, there'll be light at the end of that tunnel, and you know, and I know there will be. But it's just gonna take time, and again, the most biggest concern that I have is a lot of people now are taking that left lane going down Mountain
Yeah,
Avenue.
yeah.
They should not do that. And I'm just gonna bring this up real quick right now. If you see somebody that's involved with emergency services, please say thank you for your service. And the reason why, Howland Falls Fire Department, Fort Montgomery Fire Department, Howland Falls PD, Town of Highlands PD, Town of Highlands Ambulance Corps, they've been busy. And you know that, you two know that, you're in the fire department. It's been very, very busy with calls, and not good calls. There's been a lot of bad calls right now. And you have to think to yourself, if you take that chance or take that risk doing something, it's not going to be good. So again, with Mountain Avenue, under the conditions that it's in, please use caution on that road. That's it.
Thank you. And there's so many blind turns, no
It's-
matter if you're coming up or down.
It's bad. I
Yeah.
came, it's
You're right.
every day now. You know?
Okay, I would like to have, thank you everyone, I would like to have a motion to go into executive session on personnel issues.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much.